Lawrence Needham, 15588 Kirkshire. To support this proposal, you would have to believe two things: that downgrading our standards is the way to upgrade the community, that imaginary rights of a small minority, that's some people, I don't know who they are, they've never been identified, and I don't know that there's any numbers been put onto this group that are having a terrible time expanding their properties. It's not the end of the world. There are options, and the ultimate one is, if you made a bad judgment like we did when we bought our home, we bought a house that was too small. Okay, but that's not the fault of the community. That's my fault, and we worked around it. So, you know, I don't think we should be hearing a lot of sad stories about somebody who's, you know, really in terrible trouble because they can't expand their home. There's a place to do it. Okay. Now, there are 3 reasons offered to support rezoning are all invalid. I wish I could stand over here and talk.
I wish we had.
You're the guys that are going to vote on it. Yeah. 3 reasons are all invalid. Number 1, it is said that the current system imposes a burden on an undefined class of citizens. Again, who are they? Nobody knows. And how many are there? Nobody knows. It's also said that the ZBA and village office are unduly burdened. Well, I don't know where that comes from. They have the same burden they had 10, 20, or 40 years ago. There's a certain amount of paperwork involved. The ZBA meets supposedly 12 times a year, many, many years. You skip a couple meetings and you only have 10. They average maybe 3, 4 cases per meeting. Now, that's not a burden. This burden is a fabrication. And it is claimed without proof that the current system discourages property improvements. It's also claimed without proof that the present system adversely affects real estate sales. There's not a stick of evidence to support any of these allegations. There's nothing. It's all out of the blue. Okay, the real reason for the proposal, and I believe this deeply, is to increase housing density despite the denials in the mistaken belief that it will increase tax revenues. But even that won't happen when you consider the drop in value of neighboring homes. So that's pie in the sky. Thank you. The proposal is also flawed on 3 other levels. The one that troubles me the most, now this, I haven't heard a single bit of dialogue about this issue, which is, yes, I did. I take it back. Our consultant did briefly mention it now, but that's the first mention I've ever heard, other than from me, about the public safety issue of these narrow setbacks. Now, I don't care what we do in this village. It doesn't matter. Public safety has to be the #1 consideration. What else is more important than the health and welfare of our citizens? And it has been just basically ignored. Okay, the 10-foot between homes. Okay, you've got, by definition, you've got one building that's already on fire, and there's a bunch of trees, shrubbery, junk, people put their trash cans. Okay, now you're a fireman trying to go through there with rescue equipment to save somebody in the back room. Now, this is not humorous. This is a serious issue, and I think it's shameful that we would put our firemen at additional risk for no real reason, for an administrative reason of, quote, properties are not in conformance. They've been out of conformance for 50 years. What harm has it done to us individually? What harm has it done? To say that these, you know, in both the old zoning ordinance and the master plan, it says that these old conformities, non-conformities, shouldn't be extended. Well, I fully support that. To suggest they should be multiplied is bad. Okay, #2, we're way out of whack. The public, I believe, is way out of whack with some public officials. The plan for added population is up against a brick wall. And I repeat, this is all about more density. It's up against a brick wall when sewer capacity is considered. Any substantial increase in flow in our sewers would require a complete redo of our system on both the Acacia and 12 Towns drainages, and the latest villager, right here, states that we must reduce our sewer flow, not increase it. So, let's not even think about that. There are serious, I don't want to go on too long. I know, Mr. Stern, there are other people, I understand that.
I don't have a family.
I'll try to be brief. But we have really serious sewer issues in East Beverly. We've got restrictor plates on the drains. We have homes where ponded water accumulates, and I have to pump my yard several times every spring. And in another copy of the Villager, it says, oh, you should empty your flower pots of standing water so that you won't have mosquitoes. My neighbor has 1,000 square feet of standing water. What about that? How many mosquitoes can live in there? And, you know, years ago, we disconnected those roof drains because they were overloading the system. So then, of course, all that water goes in our yards. And, you know, this system is right up to the maximum. We put one more drop in there and we'll end up with a massive sewer project that'll cost untold millions of dollars. So, okay, enough of that. I know, Todd.
You're doing fine. You're doing great.
He's an old friend. Okay, the proposal is in direct conflict with our new master plan recently approved by the council on a 6-0 vote. And the oddest thing about that is the master plan was approved in the spring, and it was being developed simultaneously with this proposal, and the two are just right in direct opposition to each other. Now, why can that be? I don't understand that. I really do not understand that. Never will. And it was approved by a 6-0 vote, the master plan was. It specifies a maximum of 7 dwelling units per acre. Well, if we do this 4,000 square foot lot, that's the equivalent of 10.88 units. This is actually higher than our current multiple RM zoning, which is about 7.5 units per acre. So we're going to have single family with an approved density higher than multiple, which is apartment buildings. Now that doesn't make any sense. Okay, bottom line of this whole controversy is to write a grandfather clause that approves nonconformities that existed prior to the current law, as many other communities have done. If we had written a grandfather clause 2 years ago, we wouldn't be sitting here tonight. We'd all be home watching television. Okay? Again, I have never heard one syllable about writing a grandfather clause in all these discussions. I know I haven't been to all of them, but okay, Todd, my last thing that I want to say is, and I want to go back to this danger to our public servants, because I deeply believe in the additional risk that's being put upon our public safety people by this proposal. It's not something funny, it's a serious issue. And I would, maybe council members will want to express their gratitude to our excellent public safety department by voting no to this ordinance, which puts our officers needlessly at risk. Thank you.
This would be the first reading of the ordinance that we have just concluded the public hearing on. Amend Chapter 22 of the Municipal Code of the Village of Beverly Hills, which is the zoning ordinance of the village.
God.